In about 6 months, a man in a suit is going to walk into this gym, say the word Cayman, 2 feet from the one person who can't ever hear it. And you are going to have about 4 seconds to stop your whole life from unraveling in a strip mall parking lot. Right now, though, it's 6 in the morning, and you are spotting a stranger's bench press. The bar is loaded to 225 pounds. His arms are shaking on the fourth rep, and you say, "Quiet, you got it, you got it." The way you say it to everyone here, the way a trainer would say it, you are not a trainer. You have never told anyone in this building what you actually do, because the honest answer is a number, and it's the kind of number you have never once said out loud to another human being. The stranger racks the bar. He thanks you, calls you coach, and jogs off toward the water fountain before you can correct him, which you don't bother to do, because you never do. On your way to the smoothie counter, you pass Desmond, who is already there, who is always already there. Wiping down the leg press with the same faded County Fair t-shirt he's worn probably every single morning you've ever seen him, a shirt so soft it looks like it might dissolve under the next load of laundry. Desmond runs the front desk, opens at 5:30, closes the register himself most nights. Desmond thinks he knows exactly what kind of person you are. "Protein shake? The usual?" he says, already reaching for the cup. "Yeah. $9 is criminal, man. I keep telling you, buy the tub, make it at home, save yourself, like $100 a month. That's over $1,000 a year you're just handing this place." You laugh, because it's easier than the alternative, and you hand him the $9 without checking the price on the little chalkboard behind him, the way you have for 3 years, and Desmond takes it and shakes his head at you like you're a man who can't do basic math. And the truth is, you crossed a number this week. You have not said out loud to anyone, not your brother, not the one friend from college who still calls on your birthday. 8 figures. The shake is $9. You are standing here letting a man who thinks you're broke lecture you about protein powder at the grocery store. And some part of you, some part you don't examine too closely, likes it. You don't know if that part of you is healthy. Desmond bumps your fist on the way to the free weights. "Same time tomorrow?" he says. Same time, you say, and it's the whole conversation, most mornings, and somehow it's enough. That's the thing you keep circling back to, on the drive home, at 2 in the morning, when the number is just sitting there on a screen. You don't need to check, but check anyway. You don't know if staying invisible here is protecting something real, or if it's just a habit you're too scared to break. Desmond has a theory about you, and he's shared it before, more than once, usually while you're both racking weights at the end of a set. His theory is that you're a personal trainer between clients, maybe freelance, maybe struggling a little, because you're here every morning like it's a job, and you drive a car that's 12 years old, and you complain about a $9 shake. "You ever think about doing this for real?" he asked you once, months back, wiping down a bench between sets. "Like actually training people. You're good at it. You got the patience for it, and half these people already listen to you more than they listen to me." You told him you'd think about it. You think about it more than you'd like to admit, not because you want the job, but because it would be so easy to let him keep believing it. The gym is the one place where nobody wants anything from you. Your accountant wants things from you, quarterly. Your cousin, since the wedding last spring, has started wanting things too, small things at first. A loan he calls a favor. But here, nobody wants a single thing, because nobody knows there's anything to want. You don't know if that's peace, or if it's just avoidance wearing Peace's clothes. Your cousin calls on a Sunday, and you already know what it's about before you pick up. "It's not even a loan, really," he says. "More like a bridge. 6 weeks, maybe 8. I'd pay you back the second the contract clears." "How much are we talking?" 11,000. I know that sounds like a lot out loud, I know. It doesn't sound like a lot to you, and that's exactly the problem, because the moment it stops sounding like a lot is the moment you stop trusting your own read. You tell him you'll think about it. You already know you're going to say no, with an excuse so absurd you almost laugh, saying it to an empty apartment after you hang up. He ends up at a credit union instead, mentions it weeks later like it was nothing, and you let him have that. Holbrook's fourth voicemail is still sitting there unanswered on the drive to the gym one Monday. He's your advisor, patient in a way that means something is actually at stake. You delete it without listening to the whole thing, You tell yourself you'll call him back next week. You've told yourself that for 3 weeks running. There's a Tuesday, a specific Tuesday, when the question stops being abstract. Desmond's kid needs braces. He mentions it while you're both stretching, casual, the way people mention money problems to people they think are also having money problems, a kind of shared understory neither of you built on purpose. $2,400, he says, and the orthodontist wants a third down before they'll even start looking at her teeth. My wife's picking up weekend shifts at the pharmacy just to cover it. He laughs about it in the specific way people laugh about things that aren't funny at all. You could write a check right there on the gym floor that would not move a single decimal point in your life. You know the exact figure that would let you do it without blinking, without noticing it was gone. You say nothing. You say, "That's rough, man," and you mean it, and you hate a little that meaning it doesn't cost you anything. Holbrook doesn't leave a fifth voicemail. He shows up. You're at the counter, shake already halfway to your mouth, when a man in a suit that's wrong for 6 in the morning walks through the front doors, scanning the room until he finds you. I know this is completely inappropriate, he says, already unzipping a leather folder. But the trustee documents need a signature before the 30th, and you have not returned a single call in 3 weeks. The estate attorneys are treating the Cayman position as unresolved, and at this size, unresolved gets expensive fast. Desmond stops wiping. Doesn't look up exactly, but the rag goes still on the counter, close enough to have heard every word, and you feel the whole morning tilt sideways in a way that has nothing to do with the paperwork. Can we step outside, you say, too fast, and Holbrook, to his credit, reads it and follows you out before he can add anything else to a sentence that's already done more damage than either of you can take back. In the parking lot, you sign what needs signing in under 2 minutes. Holbrook apologizes again, calls it unprofessional, promises it won't happen twice, and drives off in a car that cost more than your last 4 cars combined. You go back in. Desmond slides the shake across the counter, the one you already paid for. Tax guy? He says, not looking up from the register. Yeah, something like that. Rough time of year for that stuff, I guess. Something like that, you say again, and Desmond lets it go, the way he lets most things go. And you spend the rest of the set trying to remember exactly how much of what Holbrook said was actually audible from where Desmond was standing, and you can't be sure, and not being sure sits in your chest for the rest of the morning. Desmond catches you at the counter on a Thursday in September, drying his hands on a towel instead of the shirt for once. We're doing a cookout Saturday. Nothing fancy. Kid's excited, wants to show off the no braces smile before the braces are even off, if that makes sense. Maybe, you say. That's not a yes. Yeah, all right, I'll come. You almost said no out of habit, the same reflex that's kept you out of most rooms for years. And instead, you spend most of a Saturday afternoon standing near a grill in someone's backyard, letting people assume things about you that aren't true, and it is, against your expectations, one of the easier afternoons you've had in a long time. You should bring your girl next time, Desmond says, handing you a paper plate. We don't bite. Maybe, you say, and you mean it, which surprises you more than it should. He lingers a second longer than the plate requires. That guy who came by that one morning, he says, not quite a question. Everything all right with that? Yeah, boring stuff. Tax thing. Didn't look like a tax guy, Desmond says, and then, before it can turn into anything, he's already calling out to somebody about the grill running low. And the moment closes itself the way he seems to close most things, on purpose, without making you watch him do it. Later that afternoon, Desmond's daughter, the one with the braces coming off soon, asks you flat out if you're rich, the way only a kid can ask a question like that, no weight on it at all. Just curiosity between bites of a hot dog. Rich enough to buy me a real burger? Desmond cuts in before you can answer, laughing, steering the whole thing sideways without seeming to try, and the moment passes the way most moments do, quickly, easily. Nobody thinking twice about it except you, replaying it on the drive home, grateful and a little ashamed of how relieved you were that he'd stepped in again. You think about the 8 figures the way you think about weather in another country. It's real. It affects things. It is not, on any given Tuesday at 6 in the morning, the thing in front of you, which is a man wiping down a leg press in a shirt that's basically transparent at this point, worrying out loud about braces. One Tuesday, he tells you your bench form has gone soft. You're favoring that shoulder, he says. Fix it, or I stop spotting you. You fix it. Because he's right. He's almost always right about the small things. And it occurs to you that small things are most of what a friendship actually runs on. Weeks pass. The uncertainty doesn't resolve so much as it gets quieter, the way a sound does when you stop expecting it to stop. You still don't know if Desmond ever put together what he half heard that morning, or what he'd do with it if he had. You still buy the $9 shake. Then, one morning, close to a year after the Tuesday with the braces, you come in, and the schedule board by the front desk has a note taped to it in Desmond's handwriting. His kid got the braces off early, ahead of schedule, some line about a good report from the orthodontist, a small, proud father thing meant for whoever reads the board on the way past. You stand there reading it longer than you need to. He's at the leg press when you find him. Same shirt or its replacement, close enough that you couldn't say for certain which. He waves you over to spot him on a set, same as always, and afterward you both end up at the counter, same time, 6 in the morning. And he hands you the shake before you even ask. $9, he says. Still criminal. Yeah, you say. But this time, you notice something you missed the first 100 times through this exact scene. He's not actually watching the register when he says it. He's watching you, the same way he watched you that day at the cookout when he asked about the guy in the parking lot, and then let it go before you'd even finished answering, not with suspicion. Nothing that sharp, just a flicker, a half-second longer than a joke needs, like he decided a long time ago, on his own, without ever needing you to confirm it, that whatever a suit and a leather folder and a word like Cayman meant isn't his business, and that the man who spots his sets at 6 in the morning matters more than whatever it was. You don't tell him. You still don't know if that's the right call or just the comfortable one, and a year in, you've stopped expecting that question to close. What nobody watching from outside ever gets right about a story like this is that it isn't really about the number. Nobody sees the actual unglamorous mechanics of staying invisible on purpose, the 2 minutes signing papers in a parking lot with your heart going, the practiced casual tone in Tax Guy, something like that. The discipline it takes to keep buying a $9 shake, you could buy the whole company that makes it and never notice. They see the twist, the punchline, 8 figures and a broken-down car, and they think the story is about the money. It was never about the money. It was about a shirt worn thin from washing, and a man who decided, quietly, on his own terms, that some things are worth not knowing.